Hello. Okay. Is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? We're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna have some fun. It'd be nice to have some viewers. And we're gonna put a little message up. Come on in and say hello. If you are here, I have to adjust my camera. Give me a second. It's not sitting correctly. Hello, hello. Give me a second. I just have to set up my other screen. Hang on, almost done. Whoop. Whoops, the doodles. Okay. Hello, other screen. Other screen. There we go. Hi, Katie. I don't know if that's Kevin or Annie. Hi. 1 second here. I just have to make sure that I... Oh, okay, Katie. No problem. We're not going to start, like, totally right away, so you got a few minutes here. Oh, nice. What are you painting there, Kev? Hi, Anne. We're going to have some fun with neutrals. Because everybody forgets about the neutrals. You don't always have to color with color. Right. So we're working with Mr. Torin. He's just so cute. I think even this sentiment here would be perfect for Father's Day, and that's why I kind of picked him. It says, I've taken a real Viking to you. Hi, Joanne. You're under your own name. I can never tell if it's you or Kevin. You're painting you're actually painting the living room. Gotcha. Ah. Well, that's a fun thing to be doing on a Monday night. Yeah. All right. So, raise your hand. When is the last time you colored an image in just tones of black? In other words, grays. When is the last time that you colored an image that way? I'm very curious because not a lot of people actually think to do this. So I'm curious, when is the last time you did? I'm curious. And then we'll get started in about... Never! What do you mean, never? Oh my. Well, maybe I'll push you to do that tonight. Hi, Esmeralda. How are you? Just give me 1 second and then we're going to start. Just going to read a little note here. Bam, bam, bam. Hello, hello. Okay. So I'm going to get you guys started, and we're going to do it a little bit differently than my card example. Now, I have images. I'm going to put this in the comment section below and on a separate post for you guys. So for this particular Torin, I use the N series, so the neutral grays. Now, Copics have 4 different kinds of gray. Oh yeah, and sepia. That's another good one. Absolutely. Hi, Roseanne. So for Torin, this one I used all the N's. So like anywhere between an N10, an N8, a 6, a 5, a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 0. My N4 apparently is too dry, so I had to kind of skip it. But I pretty much used all the N's to do this one. So for our one tonight, I will post this one with the color palette there. But for tonight, I thought we would actually go to the T's. So this is the Copic Hex chart by Sandy Allnock. And she's mapped out all of the C's. So there's a C, like a cool gray. There's an N for like a neutral. W for warm. And T for tonal. So there's like 3 different kinds of shades of gray. So you can warm it up, you can cool it down according to what you want it to go with. So this is something to think about here. So tonight, even though, can somebody let me know if the video is still going live? Because I've just got a video signal. Just let me know. I think I'm going to turn down my lights here just a second. Just so they're not as bright. Have maybe a little less glare. Okay, 1 second, I'm going to bring you guys in. A little closer. How is that? Okay, I'm back. All right, it stopped, but it's back. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so if you're going to do something other than black, like your grays, I suggest doing a gray ink instead of a black, which is very stark. And it's going to look very different if you were to stamp it in black versus a gray tone. I'm using gray flannel in Memento because Memento is my favorite kind of Copic ink. But there are a few other kinds of gray in this line. So, alrighty. So let's get started with coloring. Would you guys like it a little closer? You don't want a single T? You know what? That's okay, Katie. And that's where I was stating that if you want to go with a different tone of gray, so all of the markers will match up. So if I'm using like a T10, you could use a C10, if that makes any sense. It's going to work regardless of which tone of gray that you use, okay? So if I'm using a 10, use a 10 in another gray. So go C10, okay? So you don't have to do it identical, but at least it will get you there. All right? So I'm going to give away both my card that I made, that I posted, and I'm also going to give away the card that I'm doing tonight. So all you have to do to win is just leave comments anytime, anywhere on this as we go live. And I am going to pick a winner at the end of the live. I'll pick 2 winners, sorry. And those 2 people will get a card from me in the mail. So, yeah. I'm just going to set up my markers here. And I'm literally have all the T's. Oops, I skipped one. Okay. Okay. I can move my cup out of the way. We're going to start with shadows. Okay. So I've already stamped my image. And you can go light to dark or dark to light. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you kind of feel comfortable with. I'm going to start with dark and go light. So I'm going to go really rich on the dark tones. I'm going T10. So it's the darkest tonal. Okay. I'm taking off both ends. I just find that I get better control over the amount of ink coming out of my marker when I take both caps. Okay. All right. We are going to start on, we're kind of going to work our way down. I'm going to keep the horns fairly light. I don't know if I can fit my other Torin in here and still be visible to you guys. So his horns are kind of light. I'm going to start with the helmet. And as far as coloring, shadow, and shading, and getting all that correctly, you know what? Don't worry about it. Because Copics, in my opinion, especially when you're a beginner, is all about learning just how to shade. Doesn't matter where the sun is coming from, where your light source is. Doesn't matter. Don't even worry about it. But you want to start somewhere. So I'm going to start by just adding a very fine tip, just a little bit of where all my shadows are going to be. Okay, we're going to go down to his hair, and I'm using this very, very sparingly. Okay, just a hint of dark texture. I'm trying to get hair-like lines. Okay, and of course this does take practice. I'm going to go down to his cape, and it's just beginning to pour here in Medicine Hat. We are considered almost desert here in Medicine Hat, Alberta, but for the last week we have had nothing but rain. It has been very, very, very rainy here, which is very unusual for our area. We actually have cactus that grow here. So if you're aware of the map, Alberta is almost a central province, and we are more westerly than easterly, but not quite on the coast. And we're going to go to his weapon here. Just ever so slightly. Just, I'm almost going over that line to add shading. So gently. I'm trying not to make really fat lines because I really don't want a lot. Okay. So I'm going to skip the T9 and we're going to go down to the T8. Because the T9 is very, very similar. That's right. Stephen and Kevin are very much east of me. They are coastal on the East Coast. Whereas the West Coast is, we are, actually no, we're probably 15 hours from the coast, the West Coast here. And it appears that my T8 is not going to work. So you know what? I'm going to go back to the T9. So I live just above Montana, basically. The middle of Montana. We don't live that far from that line. So this is the T9 because apparently my T8 is being naughty and not going to work for me because it's dry. And I'm going over all of that T10. Okay. I'm going to skip the hair and we're going to go down to accentuate those fold lines in the cape. Okay. Because I want them nice and rich in color. And I'm going to go all the way down the edge of his cape. And same with this edge. And same with, I'm actually going to color in everything in between his legs. Because there would be quite a shadow cast there. Okay. I'm going to fatten up that line next to it. Because we're going to work out that depth. Nowhere else in Alberta? Yeah, you're definitely south. You've only been to Calgary. Yeah. We are about 3 hours from Calgary. Okay. Working our way down. So I'm going to go with a T7. So we're getting closer to like a medium gray. And I'm just going to make those lines fatter again. So I'm just basically, I'm increasing the darkness. I'm pulling it farther out into the image, although it's not as dark as, say, that T10, right? I'm just fattening those lines, and we're going to go around the base of that horn. I'm going to do just a tiny hint of our T7, just at the very, very top of that hairline, because his helmet is going to cast that shadow. Okay, so I'm working my way down here. Again, we're going over top of those lines again. So we're extending and thickening them. Okay, so again, quite a bit of this color now. We can go underneath. That shield is going to cast shadow. Okay, I'm going to do just a tiny bit down the sides here. Again, there's going to be a lot of darkness in the back of his cape. Hi, Aiden. Okay, we're working towards a mid-tone here. A T6. So we're getting lighter and lighter. Okay. Always move your image according to however you color. So again, I'm thickening those lines and working my way in. Because basically, we're going to have highlights kind of here. So I'm just, again, I'm making those lines fatter. Working my way around. And as we get this more colored in, you'll be able to see that step down of color. Just a few strokes with the T6. I still want to maintain just a little bit of a light hair color so it remains quite visible. And I'm going to go just a little bit down the edge of his cape. So I just want to maintain that fuzzy edge of the fuzz on his cape. Okay. I'm going to go quite a bit across and underneath. Okay. Because again, this is quite dark in here. There's not going to be a lot of light reflecting. I'm going to go just a little bit on the edges of that top of the cape on his shoulders. Hint. To win, tell her carrots look like strawberries. That's how I got my card. Yep. So true, Kevin. Yes. So what Kevin's referring to is my last live. I put, they were supposed to be strawberries on, I don't even remember my image now. But I was supposed to make them look like strawberries, and they turned out looking like carrots. So that's the running joke now. Get Allison to color you strawberries and they come out like carrots. Because it was a true doodle, let me tell you. Alright, so T5. And we're just going to fill in the rest of that cape, because we're not going to go any lighter. We want to maintain that contrast, because his outfit is going to stand out versus the cape. So I'm actually going to color in the top aspects of his cape. And now you can see the difference in the tones. Let's see if I can pull this up. So now you can see that you have dark folds. Even though the fabric is like a medium tone gray, you can still see the folds, right? Okay. So that's your T5. Dun, 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 dun. This is the cutest card ever. Thanks. Let's skip over our T4 and let's go straight to our T3. And we are going to use our T3 to pretty much almost finish off our helmet here. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for a second, and we're going to come down to all the decoration that is on the helmet. And I want to put a tiny bit of like a cast shadow. So I assume they're almost like a button, let's say, because there'd be a 3D disc. That they would cast just the tiny little bit of a shadow. So I'm putting a cast shadow under them to make them look like they're three-dimensional. Okay. All I'm doing is making little C's underneath. Okay. That's it. And that's all it needs. You don't even have to do anything more than just put little C's underneath. And just by doing that, it looks like they're casting a shadow. So then they therefore pop. Excuse me. Oh, I'm kicking stuff underneath my desk now. Okay. Let's see. I am going to do a little bit of shading on the horns here. And I'm not going to go against the edge or the line. I'm just going to kind of put a rough curved shape, a broken curved shape. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. Again, we're not really looking for realism as far as shadows. I just want you to get the hang of thinking about coloring something in neutrals, okay? Because it's fun, you know? It's a little bit different. All right, I'm going to go down to his outfit, and we're going to come back to his face in a minute. I am going to put, this is our T3 still. We want a little bit of a shadow underneath his chin, because obviously the chin juts out farther than your neck, otherwise you'd look really funny. And then I'm going to put a little bit of shadow down the edges of that fluffy vest. So we're putting in the shadow. So just basically outlining all that shape. Okay, I'm going to go across like the center part of his outfit here. We're going to go down to his, now you can assume these are leggings, or skin. And when it's neutral, it doesn't even really matter because it's just legs. It doesn't really tell you whether it's skin versus leggings unless you go like dark leggings and light skin, because that would kind of be obvious. So we're going to put a little bit of shading down those legs. I'm going to make the inside shading a little thicker, and that just means that there's a little fatter shadow. Okay, we're going to go down to his shoes. I'm going to go under the fluff. Okay, under the fluff. I'm going to go down just the one side. I'm going to go across the soles, and I'm just going to leave just a tiny bit of white, and that just indicates reflection. Okay, and I'm going to come back up to the face. So I'm going to put a fair amount of T3 across that band, because I'm assuming the helmet comes out and is casting a fairly wide shadow. Fairly wide. Okay. I'm going to go stepping down. We got our T2. Okay. Again, I take off both caps just because I find I get better flow. I don't get as many bloobs either because I'm preventing that. Okay, I'm taking that T and going right across the forehead. And then we're going to go down the sides of the face. And you can go down as far as you want. Some people go right down and underneath, like where the chin would be. I'm not going to tonight. We'll just see how Torin, our cutie pie, works out. Okay, so we're going to go down to his outfit. And I'm just going to widen and go underneath the crisscross there. And we're going to do his leggings / legs. There we go. And this one we're going to keep fairly simple for his boots. I'm just flicking across. And I left just a tiny bit of white just to indicate a back shadow. Or a bounce of light, sorry. I'm going to go down underneath his chin on his neck, because your chin casts a shadow there. Oh, these ones, my purple? Yeah, I had them done just for you guys. It's my favorite color. Okay, we're going to a T1. It was funny, I was watching the manicurist put this on. He actually put black undertone, like black nail polish underneath, and then put this sparkly layer over top, and they totally popped. I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, this is a T1. I'm going to go in and finish off these. Now, if you don't like the fact that this has some lines to it, you can go over top with a marker and some of those lines will blend out. Okay? If your marker has a low number, like a 0, a 00, a 1, a 2, it has a fair amount of blender solution. So you may push more ink than you really want to. Just be aware. Okay, so I'm going to go to the horns. We're going to go right over top of that line. Right over top. And then we're going to go down the other opposite side. And we're going to go to the base. And do the same on the other side. So you're going to go right over top of that dashed line. Right at the base. And right down the back. So you actually leave a white gap. Now if you want to go over that with an even lighter marker and just make the lines a little less obvious, you can do that. Yes, they actually had nail polish that was something like cat's eyes. And when you looked at it, it had like this yellow cast that goes across. I thought, oh, that would have been cool too. But I decided to go purple today. Okay. T1, so we're just softening our previous T2. We're going to come and soften the edges. Don't forget his little ears, because he'll look funny with white ears. Now I'm going to go in and deepen those eyes in the way that, you know, we all have inset eyes, right? So we have a little bit of a shadow. And I'm going to pull this down towards that chin. We're going to color in his chest there. We're also going to color in those leggings. Again, it's up to you how you interpret that. We're also going to put a little bit of shadow underneath that hair piece that's sticking out from underneath his helmet. Okay, we need to come back and look at this. Let's go back to our T2. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, back to our T2, because I'm going to go in and accentuate the fuzziness of his vest and the top of his boots. So this is a T2, and all I'm going to do, because I just want to kind of let it know that it's fluffy, so you're just going to give the impression, and I'm just making little C's. And you can do it on the inside where there's no lines. You can do it around the outside. You can make upside down C's, backward C's, whatever kind of floats your boat. But something to indicate that it's fluffy, right? And you can do a lot or a little. It's kind of whatever floats your boat and how you kind of want that fluff to look. You don't even have to blend. Sorry, my phone is making strange noises. And just by doing C's, you're just indicating that it's fluffy. Okay? And that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to blend it even. It's that easy. Yes, it is. Actually, while I have my T2 out, we're going to go to his outfit here. And I'm going to draw down quite a bit of color. And I'm going to leave the bottom a little bit lighter, so I haven't gone over it with my T2. I am going to go into kind of the upper shirt part of his outfit and just go over the T2 completely. I want to make it look like we have a little bit of texture there, so I'm going to go deeper in color. We're going to go T3. And I'm just going to accentuate, you put some fake folds in it. So you just kind of darken it. And you can darken this side, a little bit coming out from underneath. But that's it. I mean, that's that simple. Okay. There we go. So his outfit, done. And you know what? I'm going to take my T3 and just put a touch more of shadow. Doot. There, that just makes them look a little bit more rounded. Okay, let's see. We have to do his shield. So, oh, okay, Anne. Have fun prepping your Instapot. Okay, for the shield, we're going to do like a wood grain. So let's work on finishing his shield here. We'll do that, and then I'll come back and we'll blend that face. So I'm going to use a mid-tone to put in the texture of the wood. Okay. So maybe I'll do like super mid-tone. We're going to go T5. Because you can always go over your pattern. You can actually start light, and then if you like it, you can... Yes, Katie, it's very hard to color when you have the hiccups. Yeah, that would be kind of hard. Okay, I'm going to rotate my little Torin here, because I want to do the wood grain kind of on an angle this way, and I'm just easier if I rotate the image. Okay, T5. So if you don't want to start dark with your wood grain, you can go in and map it all out in your a very light color and then go over it with a dark color. That way, if you're scared of what you put down, it's not a big deal because you can probably color over it and completely hide it, okay? So if you want to start light and then you can overlap it, that's fine. So I'm just going to start random here. And I try not to draw straight lines, so make some loopy-doopies. And make some fat lines, and make some skinny lines, and make lines stop, and make lines start again. That's the fun with wood. I mean, you can basically do whatever you want, because there's no standard way to draw in lines for wood grain, because every piece of wood is going to be different. So get creative. You can do lines that are really close together, lines that are farther apart, thin ones, fat ones, you name it. There we go. And you're just continuing on, like I'm assuming it's one piece of wood. Loopy it doesn't matter the spelling of loopy doopy. That's a new term. Loopy doopy. There we go. And then of course you can come back and fill in those gaps as you make little Y's, because you might have the beginnings of a knot or the beginnings of a branch. And I try and put, you know, I want loopy doopies in there because it makes it more interesting, you know. There. So again, if you start light, you can go over it dark with a darker color. All right, so we're going to turn Torin around here. So we're going to color over that whole entire image, and I'm going to do a T. Just give me 1 second here. I've had a message pop up. Okay. Loopy doopy live. Okay, so we're gonna go over. Sorry, my phone's dinging. We're gonna go over that whole wood aspect with T2. And if you go over it fast, you're not going to blend it. It's just going to kind of go on and be done with it. If you go in and you scrub it, it's going to push ink down and you're going to lose some of that wood, that fake wood grain. Okay, so just be quick about coloring right over top. Okay, so let's add in our shadow. I'm going to go T9 for the one edge of that shield. T9. Wood grain is so fun. I think that's something that everybody needs to experiment with because you can totally make it your own. And if you're not comfortable with it, go and Google wood grain. Because then all kinds of ideas pop up, right? Okay, so we need to do that other outer surface and that center. And I'm going to keep it fairly simple here. What am I going to do here? Yeah, maybe a little touch of T5. Whoa, roly-poly. T5. And I'm just gonna make doodly oodlies. There's another term for you, a doodly oodlies. Because I don't want it to be like flat. I don't even know what you call this. Maybe this is a different grain of wood. It's a different kind of wood. And I'm not gonna do it in the center. Let's see, T2. Fairly light in color here. And I'm just going to go over it just a touch because it's almost the same color. We're going to make a circle in the middle just because we can. I'm going to go in and darken those hoods just to push those eyes back. Okay, T2. What do we got left here, guys? I think we're close. I'm just going to put just a little bit of color on, whoops, on this part of the helmet, the bands. So I'm going like super light. I'm going T1. And this is going to be really soft in color. I'm just going to make those edges appear wrapped and farther behind, and same with the top of his helmet. So I'm trying not to go over those buttons or the pops of metal, just those three aspects. I'm going to go just a tiny bit on the tongue. Okay, that's a T1, so nice and light, but enough to indicate that it's darker than the face. Oh, and you know what? We need to kind of get rid of the lines. As someone misinterpreted my comment that I made. Which one? The loopy doopy? Yeah, I think I'm loopy doopy today. My glucose is out of whack today. Okay, so this is a T0, and all we're doing is just softening the lines on Torin's face. And you can give him a little bit of a cheek color, because this is so subtle, like super subtle, but it's just enough to give that indication of shadow, but not like he's got a lot of color on his face, if that makes any sense. There. Isn't our Torin so cute? And that's it. That's him in a nutshell. Like, super easy. It's almost a no-brainer because of the fact that you're only using one tone of marker. Okay, so now the brilliant part of this is that Anne has designed outline dies for this cutie patootie. And all of my stuff is behind here. Okay. like I said, you need to try this. Pick a line of Copic markers and then just use that particular shade of gray. So if you're doing all T's, then do all T's. If you're doing all N markers, then do all N's. I hope I make sense that way. Okay, so we're just putting him through a big shot here. There we go. Who doesn't love a great, fabulous outline die? Oh my god, and look what I did. My die moved. Oh, I'm so sad. But you know what? There's always a way to fix your boo-boos. And we're just gonna cut poor Torin. Oh my god, can't speak. We're gonna cut him along the edges. Because you know what? It happens to everybody. It's just the way it is. Poor Torin. Good thing I didn't cut off like a foot or something. That wouldn't have been good. Okay. But thankfully, I didn't cut anything off. I just kind of jiggled it and it didn't stay in place. I should have put more low-tack tape on it, right? Oops. But it's okay. At least the die took off all the the nitty-gritty. I know, poor little Torin. But like I said, at least I didn't cut off anything like an ear or a leg or a foot. It's all salvageable. It's all good. It's all good. We even kept his earlobes. Whew! Alright. It's all good, people. It's all good. So, when you're fussy cutting, try your best to stay on that outer line. You want to move your paper and not your scissors, okay? This is very important. Okay, so move the paper, not the scissors. You will have more control because that paper moves really easily. But if you're moving your arm and your wrist and your fingers, that's not good because you can hurt yourself. I'm fuzzy cutting, right? Not fussy. I'm fuzzy cutting. Yeah. We're almost done. And actually, this is a good thing because... Oh, we just have one little area just off his shoulder here. It's all good. It's all good. Torin has survived. Okay. Now, most of you know that your cardstock is white core, right? It means the color of the paper, which is typically white when you stamp. Not always, but typically. So anything like a cut edge is going to show as white. Well, if you want to make it look nice and pretty, this is what I do. This is my trick. So typically I take a 5 of whatever color I've used, and I take the edge of my Copic and I run it quickly, and it has to be fairly quickly. You don't want your marker to stay in one place because it will actually bleed into your image. So I take a moderate mid-tone color. You can take a black marker if you want. I tend to go 5s or 4s, like of a gray or gray marker, because I don't always like a stark black. Because if you happen to hit poor Torin's skin a little bit too long, it looks like he has like blotches. He forgot to contour properly. So I just take that and run it around every single edge, and what it does is it makes that white core disappear. Okay, now if you have a colored image, don't, like if this is a skin, tonal skin, then don't run a black or a gray marker down the edge of the skin. Take like the darkest color that you used for your skin shadows and just edge it with that because the grays will make it look funny. I'm just warning you. Okay? So if you had colored, let's say, his helmet red, you could also do red. Red all the way around. Or his cape was blue. Then you could edge it with blue. Okay? It just helps hide that paper core. Okay? So it doesn't always have to be a black or a gray. Okay? So, okay, we got our little fella. And I'm going to grab a card base here. Okay. So I have my 110 pound white cardstock. And I'm a cheaposaurus. So I go to Michael's and I buy the 110 pound Recollections white cardstock. But you know what? It works really good for card bases. Because it's cheap. You get a lot for your money. Even in Canada. And everybody has a Michael's relatively close. Relatively. Most. Not everybody, but you can generally find. Okay. So now I'm just going to use my, this is my Post-it note removable label tape. This is 2 inches wide. What I do is I pull out whatever length I need, plus a little extra because I want tabs to hold things down. And then I take my paper trimmer, and I cut it into strips. Like I cut it into 4 equal strips. It saves on the amount of tape you use. But quite often I use 1/2 inch as my masking width anyway. So you save that way too. And as you can tell, I've used these strips before. I use them on my card, so. And the Post-it note tape is sticky enough that I can reuse it a few times. Quite often I'll use it quite a few times for masks, and then I rip it into pieces for holding my dies down. Well, except for our poor Torin there. Okay. Now, we're going to bring in the Norse stencil. I love this stencil. Okay. And we're going to tack this sucker down. So if, like I begin... Actually, you know what? Let's go this direction instead. I hope I put the fold of my card up at the top. Yeah, that would be pretty boneheaded, but, you know, c'est la vie. Okay, so I'm just trying to find a happy place for my stencil. Generally, I try and make it as even as possible within that void. Try. It doesn't always happen. And we're going to stick this down. And my son decided that he was going to take my repositionable spray adhesive and use it and clog the nozzle. So my repositionable spray adhesive is dead. It is died a slow death. Okay, so we're going to use the same gray ink that we stamped our Torin with. And I'm just going to start in the corner. And I'm going to work down that edge because we kind of want a soft void in the center. We want to kind of fade it into the center. And you can do, you know, as much layering as you want. You can deepen and darken those edges. And I apologize for the shake. I'm hoping the camera isn't too shaky. If you have adverse effects to that, then look away. Look away. So using a nice soft brush, that'll help with aiding getting that nice soft internal edge there. Yes, the lovely Norse stencil. This is wonderful. This would work with any theme because it's kind of a generic pattern, but it works so well with the Vikings because it reminds me of like the braided aspects of their hair and some of the details on their ships and stuff like that. So it works wonders. And then of course, who doesn't love the reveal? Da 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 da. And again, you could make it even lighter than this. You could go in with a color. There we go. So very, very simple. Okay. Now, let's bring in our Misty, and we're going to use the same sentiment. So it's, I've taken a real Viking to you, and I am going to position Torin kind of where I want him. We're just going to slap a magnet on him. I'm going to push him up a little bit. And that way, hi Diane. Okay, so we're just going to put in, I didn't want him in the center. I wanted something different. So we're going to put him off to the side. So that looks good. It gives me enough room to put Torin on the card without too much trouble. He's going to have some room there. Okay, we can take him off for the moment. Okay, I am going to use the same gray flannel just because continuity in color is key. It makes like everything look unified. I mean, the nice thing about having translucent ink is you can stamp it multiple times to get it a little bit more striking, but it still is the same ink. So it looks continuous, looks good on your card. Okay, and then we're gonna do very, very simple pop up here. Let's see. This is just good old foam tape. I don't know, I have a love affair with it. I like to use a lot of it. I don't know about you guys, but I like it. I'm an over-adheser, as Kathy Zilski says. I think that's funny. Okay. I'm an over-adheser. Okay. And I got a triangle here, and I don't know if this will... might work on this side. There we go. You can cut triangles or strips or whatever out of this adhesive, and that's why I like it. 3M is a little bit firmer, so that's kind of why I really like it. I like it a lot. And don't want to cut off his poor neck. I have done that in the past. Yeah, that's quite a fix. You can fix it, believe it or not, but yeah, let's not do that. Okay. We're gonna put our word supply, and then I want to make sure that I get his legs. And you're right, Diane, that stencil is electric. Isn't it fun? There we go. And it still looks masculine, right? Because you've used all grays, because what man doesn't like gray? Bring in my little garbage bowl here. Okay. Let's take off. Take off our backer. I tell you, this is like the worst part. This takes me just as long sometimes as applying the darn stuff to get all the backer off, especially with nails. Polished nails are even worse. Okay, Torin's being good, even though I cut him off. Poor thing. Okay, so we're gonna stick him down. Stick him down. I'm gonna push him up just a tinkle. There we go. There's our Torin. So again, like super simple coloring. Super simple stenciling. And you can see the difference here. So this is the one that I did for my example, and this is the one that I did tonight. So this one is done with the N series of Copics, and this one is done with the T's. Excuse me. So I will post both. Oh, you know what? I forgot his eyeballs. Oh no, we can't. I gotta fix the eyeballs. Hang on, hang on. He's gotta have some nice eyeballs. Let's fix his eyeballs. Okay, so I'm going in with the T9. We're gonna give him some extra black pupils, okay? Do. Okay, that looks like way better. He doesn't look like a zombie. And let's see, I'm going to go in with a T2. I don't know if this will show. Just going to do little teeny tiny wispies. Just out. And they're probably going to dry back like where you can't even hardly see them. But I know they're there. You know they're there. And of course, we got to give reflections. So there's 3 different sizes of the jelly roll. There's a fine, a medium, and a large. I have mine labeled just because I'm blind and it makes it easier to find them in my cup of goodies. Use the back of your hand and warm up the little ball that's in the pen. This will help you get ink out nice and smooth and thick. And we're just going to put reflection points. And you can make them big, small, 1, 2, whatever kind of floats your boat. There we go. Haha! Okay, it looks way better now. Actually, I'm just grabbing a T8 here. So the other thing too, to knock back and make it look like his mouth is deeper, because it's obviously your throat. And of course I had to pick the dry one. I'm so dumb. Okay, anyway, that puts the tongue forward. Okay. And there we go. Mr. Torin has eyeballs now. Poor kid's had a rough night tonight, I tell you. Alright. So, I will make sure to put images in the Facebook group so you can see both. I'll put charts as best as I can for him. And so you can see them up close. I'll do close-ups of this one as well as posting this one. And I appreciate everyone stopping in and joining in my laughter. They look just like carrots. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. There are no carrots on this one. Silly. If you've left a comment tonight, and I will pick 2 winners at the end of the comment section, and I will tag you, and the first person to get back. Exactly, Katie. See, Katie's on my side, and I will get back to the winners, and you can pick whichever one you want, so you can either do the live or the previously done copy, and I'll send this to you in the mail. Okay, so I'll give you a few more seconds to leave comments, and then I'm just gonna pick 2 random comments. And who needs to win it, Katie? Yeah, exactly. And we'll pick 2 winners to get one little Torin in the mailbox. And I'd love to see you guys do this version. So break out your grays or your browns, as in sepia tones. And I'd love to see your monochromatic chibis. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in tonight. I hope you learned something. And I hope you had a few giggles. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye.